Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Jet-in Airways, and it is the dodgy but well-dressed pilot here today. Why am I well-dressed? Well, today is the first day, our first service in our CRJ from Baltimore to Atlantic City. So it's the first time we've flown this aircraft with passengers. So a very warm welcome to you all on board our very first CRJ service to Atlantic City. Now, as always, I do a quick walk through the cabin just to make sure it's clean and tidy and everything is tickety-boo. The cleaners haven't left any buckets or squeegees or anything behind, and it's looking really sweet and clean. So that is all good. I have requested JetBridge connection, so cabin crew are able to come on board now and prepare for boarding. Now, my first officer will do the exterior walk around inspection today, and I'm going to get things started here. Right, well, here I'm going to be setting up the FMC, and I'm going to be doing it very basically indeed. Position in it. Next page, we'll click on our position here, go back to previous page and put that in there. Execute. Now we'll go to our flight plan. Our place of origin is KBWI, so it's going in there, and we're heading over to our destination, which is KACY. KACY, and I'm going to put that in there and execute. We're going via our first waypoint, which will be BRIEF, brief, BRIE, where's F? F, okay, via our first waypoint, which is brief. Okay, execute that, and we'll go to our legs, and we'll put in some more waypoints here. I only need about 2 or 3 waypoints today. We're going to put Carol in there, KARYL, KARYL, that will go in there. And from Carol we will head straight down into the runway. So our first waypoint takes us over close to Atlantic City. We pass over Carol, and that lines us up for an approach. We're going to do a manual approach and a manual landing today. Okay, so I'll execute that. Now arrive and depart. Runway 1, runway 10. Click that. Execute, depart and arrive. We're going to arrive at ILS 13. That's the runway we're going to be using, although we're not actually doing a ILS approach or an ILS landing today. Okay, so we've got our flight plan here. Let's go to our legs. Now we've got a discontinuity here. We're going to delete that. And Carol seems to have doubled up a little bit. Seems to go a little bit wonky sometimes. Got other waypoints in here I don't need. I'm going to delete those. Going to delete that vector. Going to delete that one. Delete that one. Delete that one. So we're taking off from that runway, heading over to brief. Fly through Carol to line up our runway, and runway 13 for our approach and landing. So I'll execute that, and that's about it. I tell you, it is simple and basic and quite fast when you get used to it. Now there's a lot more detail you can do on the FMC, but I have not studied that yet. I've not gone into that. I will later. But that's how I just do a basic flight plan to get me from A to B. Right, let's come up here and we can put get our beacon light on. We'll be going through startup soon, but I'll let my co-pilot, the first officer, actually do all that today, handle that. And let's get clearance for our taxi. First we'll disconnect the jetway.
Juliet India Alpha 100, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft? Alpha 100, request taxi for takeoff, straight out departure. Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100, taxi to and hold short of runway 28 using taxiway Tango uniform cross runway 22 uniform 1 cross runway 28 Victor. Contact tower on 119.4 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway 28 via taxiway Tango uniform cross runway 22 uniform 1 cross runway 28 Victor. Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100. Ground Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100 requesting pushback. Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100 pushback request accepted. Ground Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100 requesting pushback, tug to steer the aircraft to the left. Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign if you haven't already done so. We request that you store your luggage and take your seats so we can have an on-time departure. For those passengers seated in a designated exit row, you may be called upon to open that exit in the event of an emergency. Please refer to the safety briefing card or the exit row information card located in the seat back pocket to ensure you meet the exit row criteria and understand the information. As on board today, please refer to the Welcome Aboard section of your My Magazine. Thank you for your attention.
Boarding door has been closed. Once again, we do need all passengers to remain seated at this time. Please double check the security of your seatbelt. All electronic devices do need to be turned off and put away at this time. This does include all cellular phones and two-way pagers. Flight attendants, please prepare your doors for departure and cross-check.
Okay, bring my flaps down. Flaps down to there and adjust my trim for departure. Okay, so we'll do our engine startup. And I'm going to assign that to my first officer, who is going to go through the startup there. And we'll get everything ready to go. Now, let's come up here and just check all our lights are on. Taxi lights on. Beacon light can go off. Logo light can go on. I think that is all good. Now I want to set my throttle now for about 30% here. It's not that easy to set. You've sort of got to wiggle the throttle around on this thing. It's pretty hard to get it in the right position. Okay, so here I've got it set at 30 there. Got my throttle set at 31, so that should be okay for taxi. If we're going too fast, I just need to dab the brakes a little bit. Now if I hit the V key, I'll bring up our map, and if I zoom right in, I can see where I've got to actually taxi. The map is no good for the flight plan because with this study level plane, the flight plan doesn't communicate with the plane, this flight plan. So I'm going to click on my second screen, my other monitor, but you can use that map to taxi and get to the right taxiway and find your runway for departure.
Now we ask that you direct your attention to the forward part of each cabin to the TV monitors for a brief and important safety message about our minute.
Turbulence may occur unexpectedly, so keep your seatbelt fastened during the flight, even when the sign is not on. Cell phones, two-way pagers, and all other electronic devices should be off and stowed. Remove the cushion and place your arms through the straps on the lower side of the cushion. On some aircraft, a life vest is located under the seat or between seats. Put the vest on over.
Just a little bit to go, and then we'll turn right onto the runway up here. And we will be on our way to Atlantic City. Not a bad day, a little bit cloudy around, but not too bad. Maybe a little bit lumpy as we head up through those clouds. But generally, I think it'll be a nice flight. Should be pretty smooth. Okay, so we're going to park here and we are going to get clearance from tower for departure.
Baltimore Tower, Jet-in Juliet, India Alpha 100, ready at runway 28, departing straight out.
Jet-in Juliet, India Alpha 100, altimeter 29.92, phoning alphabet equals X Microsoft UPS PH equals WIHND wind / phoning 281 at 8. Departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 28.
Acknowledge.
For takeoff runway 28, Jet-in Juliet, India Alpha 100.
Okay, I don't know why, but I looked down at the FMC and it was blank. Anyway, I think that was to do with my startup process. Remember, I went to here and I clicked ready for taxi, and that sort of set everything right blank again at the beginning. So I had to go through and put my flight plan in again. So it's all done. We have clearance for departure, so we can head out onto the active runway. I'll just check that my flaps are down in the right position. Adjusted my trim for takeoff. Okay, we can release our brakes and head out to the active runway. Now, I've done a little bit of practice with this plane over the last couple of days. I'm still learning. I've still got a long way to go, so I do fly it very, very basically. Don't worry about whether I'm doing the right procedures or whether I've missed something or done something wrong. It is all very new to me, this plane. Just the fact that I can fly it from A to B for me is an absolute miracle. It's a study level plane, and I've had to overwork my brain just to get it this far. So forgive me. Don't worry about all my blunders and wrong procedures. Okay. I'm just here having fun. I'm a casual flyer, so I will study it and I will learn over the next few weeks as I get more flying time under my belt with this plane. It's a good thing about a study level plane. You know, I could be flying this for a year. I could fly this for a year and there will still be things that I need to work on, I need to practice, and I need to learn. And I guess that is the beauty of a study level plane. Like I said, I'm very, very inexperienced with this plane. If you have any helpful tips or suggestions, as usual, you are very, very welcome to leave them in the comments below, okay? Whoops, I got to get the throttle in the right position. T-O-G-A, Toga, that's where I've put the throttle. It means take off and go around setting. I think that's what that means. So that's where I have the throttle set. So I'll take off the brakes, fingers crossed, here we go. This is our first official CRJ-700 passenger service for Jet-in Airways. So welcome aboard, guys. It is history in the making. And we're off the ground. Gear up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the right Alt I'm going to drag that over to my second screen so I can see that. I don't always have to be zooming right in really close to this little wee display here to try and see the details. I can just look on my second monitor and I have that display up on that monitor all the time, so I can see all the details of the flight and what the plane's actually doing. Now I'm just using the trim at the moment just to keep the plane at 15 degrees climb out as I pick up some speed. And I'm going to come over here now.
Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100, please acknowledge.
Please acknowledge. Yes.
Baltimore Tower Jet-in Juliet India Alpha 100 frequency change.
Frequency change. Now I'm going to turn on the autopilot, and I think the autopilot should work beautiful. Hit navigation, and our plane will follow our flight plan, and we're on our way to Atlantic City, guys. Gotta say, since I've been practicing with this plane over the last few days, I really have enjoyed it. It is really easy to fly once you've learnt these basic things and you've sorted all the problems out and the issues. Once you've done it a few times, it becomes easy, and it really is a beautiful plane to fly, I have to say. Now the other thing I've learned about the autopilot panel is that the altitude hold button, the altitude button is basically an altitude hold button. Over speed, so it doesn't have an auto throttle. You've got to do the throttle yourself and make your own adjustments to keep an eye on your speed. That's what makes it interesting. You're quite busy on this plane, a lot busier than the other planes. You've got to adjust the auto throttle and your speed. Right, my speed's coming down now. Make sure my flaps are up. And like I was saying, the altitude button on the autopilot is just basically an altitude hold button. Now when you adjust something, whether it's your throttle or your flaps, or whenever you're adjusting things in the plane, you've got to keep an eye on the autopilot switch. Make sure the autopilot, sometimes it tends to switch itself off. If you're making adjustments, could be to the throttle or the flaps or something in the plane. If you're doing some adjustments, always keep an eye on the autopilot switch, because that will switch itself off, and then you'll be in a little bit of trouble.
Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck. We're level at our cruise altitude, so I'm going to turn off the seatbelt sign at this time. So you're free to move about as necessary. However, when seated, we would like you to keep your seatbelts comfortably fastened for your safety. We just checked the weather and expect smooth sailing for most of the flight. So for the most part, we're going to stay quiet and let you enjoy the entertainment and service, and we'll be talking with you later on the flight.
Speed is a little high. Bring the throttle back a bit. Whoop, not that far. Make sure we don't overspeed as we descend. Try and keep the plane at 140 knots. Gear is down. We're on pretty much full flaps. Might bring them up one actually. Right, so when I have a visual of the runway, a nice clear visual, I'll turn off the autopilot and I will do a manual landing today. Because I don't know how to do an ILS landing at this stage, so I've got to try and do it manually.
The articles you may have brought with you. Extra care should be taken when opening the overhead bin. How the articles may have shifted during our flight. On behalf of your entire flight crew, it's been our pleasure serving you this morning. Have a pleasant day.
Well, welcome to Atlanta City, everybody. Wasn't too bad a landing for a manual landing, considering I'm just learning this aircraft and trying to get to control it and operate everything properly. Wasn't too bad. Not too bad at all. Well, here we go. We'll leave it there. Probably parked in the wrong place, but never mind. Now there's another flight departing, so I'm going to leave the plane in the turnaround. I'm going to leave it in the turnaround setup, ready for the next pilot to come on board and do the next flight. Open the cargo doors and lower the stairs. And that's the end of our service today. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys, with all its errors and stuff. And thanks for watching. Leave a comment and talk to you on the next video. And hopefully we'll get better and better at flying this study level aircraft as we figure things out a bit more. Okay, stay safe, guys. Cheers.